Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the Land and Body Student Showcase for Power Street Theater Company. Thank you so much for joining us. Please share, let your friends and family know about this showcase tonight. My name is Alina Ortiz. I'm the resident playwright with Power Street Theater, as well as the playwriting teacher for tonight's classes, well, one of tonight's classes. Tonight you'll be getting a chance to see some of the work that my playwriting class, as well as Gabby Sanchez's storytelling class has been working on. I want to say thank you to Stockton Rush Bartol Foundation and Bread and Roses Future Fund, as well as William Penn Foundation for supporting this work. As you're watching the show, if you have any questions or comments or anything that you want to let the playwrights know about the work that you're doing or about the work that you're seeing, please go ahead and comment in the chat and let us know. We'll be looking at the chat, and afterwards we'll have a Q&A. So we might get a chance to actually ask the folks working on this tonight some of the questions that you have. And the show will run about an hour, just so you know. So the first class will be about 30-35 minutes, and the second class will be about 25-30 minutes. So first up is my playwriting class. Each of the monologues that you're about to hear was written in partnership. So each playwright was in charge of their own monologue, but they had to work together to figure out what the relationship was between the two stories that they were telling. So all the monologues tonight are very different, but hopefully you'll be able to see the ones that are paired together and what the relationship is between the characters or the world that they're both in. So without further ado, our first two monologues were written by Jose Vinales and Pratima Agarwal, with a guest performance by Angel Sigalar. Mateo and Anushka have found each other after a disastrous event. Mateo must face a hard truth, and Anushka must learn how to break it to him. Let's send some good energy to our first pair of monologues.
When will I see my mom? When will we start looking for her? You said we would look for her, but it's been 3 days and you have barely tried. We've just been camping around in this mess of a city and nothing has changed. How is this any better than what I was doing before you came? You don't think she's out there, do you? Well, what do you know? You also didn't know that I was here, so how could you be so sure that she isn't? I thought archaeologists look for stuff all the time. Well, maybe you just aren't very good at your job. You aren't very good at whispering either. I heard you. On the first night when you were on the phone, you said you encountered an orphan. You never believed my mom was alive. Were you ever going to try and help me? If you won't help, I will do it myself. Just wait and see. I will find my mom. She is out there. I will prove it. I have to. She has to be out there. She has to be okay. There's no other option for me. I don't have any family. There's no one else. It's just me and my mom. It's always been just me and my mom. And I was okay with that. No, better than okay. It was great. Before the flood, my mom would make me pancakes every Saturday. They were the best. They were fluffy in the middle, but crispy on the edges and flooded with syrup. And then we would watch cartoons and I would lay my head on her lap and she would tell me how smart I was and how I could do anything as long as I had faith. She also used to say that I could be hot-headed and stubborn and didn't know when to let things go. I'm sorry for getting upset, saying you weren't trying. It's just, I just can't give up. If I don't find her, then what? What will I do? What's gonna happen to me if I don't find her?
You're a bright kid. Might be brighter than most 10-year-olds. What do I know about 10-year-olds or kids for that matter? We found an elephant the other day, a baby elephant. Did we tell you that? Anyway, it hasn't stopped crying since we found it. Seems to have grown attached to one of our team members though. Still cries out in the middle of the night. No matter how much we feed it or talk to it or play with it. Can only hope it forgets at some point. They say elephants never forget, don't they? Gosh, fuck, where's a joint when you need one? Oh. You did not hear any of that? Okay, look. I don't know what's gonna happen after all of this. I can't tell you that people will be better and not let this happen again. What I can tell you is that we are not going to let anything happen to you. Maybe you think that I'm some kind of monster who finds all of this chaos exciting, but the truth is that it makes me angrier than you can even imagine. Because none of this shit show ever had to happen. And it's the last thing I would ever want happening to this world. Especially to a kid like you. And yes, I did say that we had found an orphan because we didn't think anyone could possibly survive this long. I mean, even if we did find you, who knows? Maybe by some miracle, if you believe in that kind of thing. There are others out there. And that's why we did look for your mother in the area that you told us. We found this bracelet. It has her name engraved on it. It was still on her wrist. I'm sorry.
Woo! Great job, Jose and Angel and Fatima. Thank you so much for your beautiful work. Yes, let's send them that energy.
Awesome.
And imagine Jose hadn't written anything like this before in his life, and then Pratima, who has an amazing writing history, but then coming together with Jose and working in this pair was just so great. And then Pratima. And then Pratima, who something there's like an echo. Okay, in this next pair of monologues, written by Eliana Burson and Faith Jones Jackson, and performed by Lori Felipe Barkin and Yasmin Enoch, two lifelong frenemies reflect on their life of misunderstandings and misconnections as they are forced to be roommates in their retirement village. Let's send some energy to the next pair of monologues.
Why did you have to choose parsley, Jim? The shit is tasteless. And I don't know what you get out of 24 parsley plants in plastic cups just sitting around clogging the windowsill. Well, I only have so much time left and I'm not wasting it on this. No, I won't go over there. Look at Stella smiling at everyone, tricking them into thinking she's such a sweetheart. Just like she's always done. Well, I've known her since diapers, and she's the biggest phony and brown-noser you'd ever seen. Calling Mrs. Lackey dear. Even though she knows Mrs. Lackey cleans her teeth in the fountain. Oh, dear my ass. And Stella hasn't called me dear once. Thank God for that. Oh, Jim, don't make me go back over there. First, you put us in the same room, then you make me sit with her for these ridiculous activities. No. You know what? It's fine. I bet she'll die first. Oh, now don't look at me like that. She's clearly the worse off of the both of us. I've only had the hip replacement, and her skin looks like something you'd get on sale at the butcher's. The only thing about her that doesn't look like an old fart are her eyes. Yes, Jim, I'm very grateful my daughter brought me here, okay? I can't believe I'm stuck sleeping in the same room as my oldest, what do you call a bitch who's been haunting you for 7 decades? A nemesis? That works. I bet you wouldn't be surprised to know I'd much rather be at home with my guinea pigs, huh? But sleeping in the same room as that old witch, at least it smells like a home. She smiled at me. Jim, why did she smile at me? No, I won't smile back, and I won't go sit with her. Oh shit, I smiled. Why did I smile? She's up to her old tricks. Yes, Jim, she knows exactly what she did to me in 3rd grade. Yes, even though it's been 70 years. After all, an elephant never forgets. She doesn't deserve a smile, you know. She deserves a kick in the backside and maybe a paper bag over the head. If one of you nurses around here could grab me one, I could probably convince her to put it on, the dumbass. Oh, of course I'm joking, Jim. But I'd love to go back home. My daughter means well. She worries about me, but I don't think I belong here with Stella and Mrs. Lackey. And I still could drive if they'd let me. I could take the produce truck. I've never driven a truck, but hell, I'll be dead soon anyway, so why not? And if I could just make it home, I could sit in my front room with my guinea pigs and not have to look at the dirt and the parsley and the face of the woman who... Smile back. There, I did it. Do I get some nice points, Jim? Why hasn't she called me dear? I swear she's called everyone in this entire hellhole dear. Does she think she's too good for me? Another smile. She's good at faking this shit. But it is a nice smile. It's half decent, I mean. Doesn't look that phony sometimes. Fine, Jim. I'll go plant the goddamn parsley.
One day in about 3 hours was all it took for that boy to be all fripping and running, forgetting all about his mama. You see a lot of that here, Jimmy? Boys forgetting their mamas, leaving them to plant parsley. I done took care of this boy his whole life long, and I get parsley and the worst roommate I ever had in return. At least at home, I didn't have to know if my neighbor was in diapers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, it's just none of my business is all. I am perfectly capable of taking care of myself too, Jerry. I don't know why on earth this boy would think to just send me away. You got a mama, Joey? You make her plant parsley? Of course you do. Don't you go shipping her off like my son done me, okay? Okay, I guess he didn't just ship me off. I had something to say about it, but the one thing I asked for Johnny, I didn't even get. If I had to be here for my retirement, all I asked was I didn't get stuck with Dorothy again. That woman is by far the most frustrating person I've ever met my whole life. And that's not an exaggeration either. I've known her since I was 5 years old. She wasn't very nice then, and she's only gotten worse. And now I have to live with her? Look at her, over there just staring. Probably plotting something. A darn shame, right, Jeremy? Wait. Let me smile. Kill her with kindness. Child, that ain't work yet. Maybe that's what my mama meant. You give too many chances, Stella Mae. You better stop before you find yourself all chanced out. Guess I ain't reached that yet. But hey, she hasn't thrown any soil over here or poked a hole in my cup yet. I've been watching while on my break with you. Maybe my chances are working. Did you see that, sugar? She looking over here again. Let's both smile this time. No sudden movements. The mean ones always scare easily. The least you could do is smile back. Her face is a whole lot prettier on those rare occasions, that's for sure. I still can't believe I gotta live with that old bat. And plant parsley. You really need to pick a better flower next time, but hey, maybe it's doing her some good. Honey, let me tell you something. When people say life is funny, believe them. It's the truth. Me and this woman been running circles around each other our whole lives. I know I told you that, but have you ever known anyone your whole life? Almost as long as you've known yourself? There's just something about that. Someone with as many sunrises and sunsets as you, that y'all experienced in the same neighborhoods, around the same people, in the same school, sometimes even jobs. Now imagine hating that person, or that person hating you, rather. I can barely remember what I did, but I do feel bad. If she hated me this much, I must have really done something awful, right? Right? The one regret I have these days is whatever that thing was. What if we could have just experienced all that time together instead? Not just in the same places, but actually connected. What if we could have really known each other? Not just the latest gossip, but been there for one another when we needed it. I remember when her dad passed, when she got married, when she had her first child, when she did everything. Last year, I said to myself I was going to let that go, though. That at some point I had to let it go. Then in she walks into our room where I thought I was leaving her behind. What do you think it means when someone just keeps showing up in your life?
Beautiful work, Eliana and Faith and Lori and Yaz. Such wonderful work. Thank you. Those monologues make me, every time I hear them, I feel like I know I learned those characters better than I knew them before. Okay, in this next pair of monologues written by Julia Lopez and Jessa Mendez, two estranged sisters, one a professional dancer and one a devoted Jehovah's Witness, reflect on the true meaning of paradise. Let's send some energy to the next pair of performers. Go.
Are you still alive? Are you happy? Sometimes I wonder about you. Do you ever wonder about me? Can you ever understand where I'm coming from? You can't ever. This morning, he took my phone. He will see that I called you. I wanted to know how you were doing. That's all. And my grandchildren, the girls. Actually, I was reading the paper and saw a review about a performance you were in. I felt so proud. I wanted to tell you myself. I wanted to hear your voice. And when you fell, I wanted to pick you up like when we were kids. You were always so clumsy. I know I can never go back to the way it was with us. Your big sister, watch out for you. I know Jehovah loves me. He is my constant companion now. And I wish you could be in paradise with us. Oh, a new world of new heavens, our paradise. A new earth will begin after this old world ends. And it will end. It will end in Armageddon. I've been so good, even when I'm weak and I start to think. I gotta get the fuck out of here, away from him. Oh, the almighty husband, holier than. The truth is, sometimes I'm jealous of you. I am alone with too much responsibility. The kingdom hall, all day, every day. Feels like that. Even when I have myself in the house all by myself and no one is looking. Peace and quiet. These are small sacrifices. Paradise is too difficult to give up.
Why are you really here? Look, I'm lucky I didn't break my face out there. Really not in the mood to stroll down memory lane to the last time you acted like a human being. You know, I've done that routine a million fucking times and I've never tripped. But one look at your smug face. Why don't you just run and go tell your Greek chorus of a congregation about this? Always singing about my troubles, but never doing anything to help. That's how you've always been, perched at the top of that watchtower, just waiting for me to drop dead so you can pick at my carcass. You know, I thought I was so different from the rest of you, but there was something in me that had that same need for paradise, for someone to guide me out of that hell that I was born into. Part of me wished I could be like you. I tried. Not in the same way you did, but I fell at the feet of a false savior every now and again. I'd trust them or test them, I don't know, with the story of my past, and they'd sink their claws into my shoulders and tear the skin clean down to the blades. And then they'd leave, and I'd be bleeding everywhere, and I'd swear I'd do better, but it kept happening again and again. But god damn, it made me so much better in the end. You know that? I had to learn how to worship all of myself. And I hated it at first. I hated feeling like I had no one to blame for my problems. I hated being such a fuck up. But about a million times of this feeling like shit, I realized that I was just as responsible for my triumphs. Did you see them out there? Before the fall, or even during, I don't know, I kind of shame spiraled for a minute, honestly. The way they looked at me, the way a single movement captivated them. When I first started performing, I would get so high off of that reaction, but then feel guilty, maybe? No, actually, I think I was just shocked that anyone could see anything in me other than sadness and grief and fear. They saw me actually being alive. And I decided, yes, it was a choice, that I wanted to be alive all the time. And what I do on that stage, how I move, it's my way of being in the world. I used to be so afraid of failing or of someone not liking me or making me feel bad about who I am. But really, you all gave me years of practice in how to cope with that. You abandoned me, you shamed me, you hurt me. And I'm glad. I am so glad. Now I can just throw everyone else's judgment on that old pile of crap and just be myself. Look, I'm not gonna lie, it really does suck sometimes, and I still feel shitty about myself when I fuck up. But at least I can be honest about it. At least I can actually tell you that it sucks sometimes. I don't have to pretend everything's fine. I will replay that fall about 1,000,000 times in my mind. But I will go back out there tomorrow night and I will try again. So fine. Maybe you'll talk shit about me. And maybe you'll go to some better place when you die. I'm in my paradise right now. And I'm okay with that.
Woo! Amazing work, Jessa and Julia. Oh, there's so many lines in those pieces that just like stab me. All right, our final pair of monologues written by Melissa Sabater and Betty Bazemore. Two friends have a chance to reconnect on a wild trip to Puerto Rico. But first, Dana must decide if she will go with her friend or try again with her ex-husband. Let's send some energy to our performers, Lori and Yasmin.
Oh yeah, the black thong. Taking that too. Wait, this is so weird. Here I am packing to go on vacation with Barry, and our divorce isn't even a month old. And what does this vacation even mean anyway? He's not gay now? Bullshit, I caught him red-handed for crying out loud. Does this prove he still loves me and can't live without me? God knows I still love him. Maybe he's bisexual and our marriage is totally not in vain. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm excited to go. I'm gonna put all of this past behind me as I stuff this stuff in a suitcase, skip, get the thong, and just not expect anything out of this vacation with Barry. Oh, snap, my girl Kati. She leaves today for Puerto Rico. She invited me, even brought my ticket. I left her in limbo, never gave her a response. I'm sure she'll understand that although her talks with me during the divorce were godsend, I got another chance for working things out with Barry. Kati will understand, right? She's been my BFF since high school and been through thick and thin with me. She really gets me. The only one who really understands me. That's what BFFs do, right? She'll understand that although this divorce was totally necessary, I don't think I'm ready to get my groove back. I don't know if I'm ready to start over. Don't care to give it another go to find myself, as I should be on a trip with... Now I feel stupid inside, stuffing his black thongs to the suitcase, knowing damn well Barry ain't pulling nothing off of his teeth but barbecue ribs. Although, I always had the best time with my girl Kati. We have laughs for days. I should go on vacation with... Damn. I feel ashamed for myself for even having the nerve to say this out loud. Seriously, Dana, it's now or never. Let me call her. Shit. Voicemail. Hey, girl. Just calling to say that don't count me out, okay? I'm going with you.
I know it took Dana some time to decide to come with me to Puerto Rico after finding out her husband Barry was having an affair with his buddy Kyle. It nearly broke her. Dana, my best friend, my confidant, my strong BFF. Dana was shocked at first. After we talked it over a few cocktails, I invited her to come get some much needed rest and fun in the sun. Now we're heading back from paradise, Puerto Rico. During high school, Dana and I were on a local dance show. We had so many adventures at that time. We went on bus trips to the shore and amusement parks, getting well known from folks all over the tri-state area. We danced with gorgeous guys. So it was no surprise to me that we're dancing the night away. We're drinking her favorite apple martini and my mojito. And we were letting our hair down. After bronzing in the Caribbean sun and glinting sea, we slathered sun tanning oil by these local honeys, Rolando and Fabio. We went back to our room to get pretty. And she wore a gold mini dress. And I wore white linen pants and a gold tube top. Our heels had to be stripper height, 8 inches. The guys we were dancing with decided to buy us drinks. Since they were locals, we asked them if they could get us some Mary Jane, if you know what I mean. Fabio, who was romancing Dana, was scamming with Rolando, my admirer. Can you believe that? While we went to the ladies' room, Fabio and Rolando stole our purses and took off running to the back exit that led to the beach. The bartender pointed in their direction. Dana and I took off our heels and ran after them. We sprinted towards them and tripped on the salty sand as the sun set on the Atlantic Ocean behind the club. It was almost a struggle. All of a sudden, the security bounced on them while we were hitting them in the head with our fancy shoes, and the rest is history. What I forgot to mention was that Dana and I were the fastest runners on the track team back in school. Back on the beach, thinking of our adventures. Still BFFs. Dana will be all right. Salud.
Excellent work.
Great
Yes.
job.
Awesome. Yeah, if you're yes, I like that dance that Betty's doing. If you're a playwright, you can do that dance again right now. Playwrights, if you want to just like raise the roof for a second so we can turn your cameras on and raise the roof so we can give you all your due for a second. Everyone can see the amazing writers today. You can do your bow, bow, bow. Yes, yes. Thank you, actors, for your beautiful work. Excellent. I'm going to hand it over to the storytelling class. Thank you, playwrights. Thank you, actors.
Hey, y'all. It's a super honor to be here tonight and to bear witness to the incredible playwrights with us today. And so, yeah, I wanted to just start off by just saying woo to the playwrights. Your voices are so important. During the past 7 weeks, the storytelling class, we have explored the themes of land and body and vulnerability. And how does the land and our bodies inform the way we interpret the world around us? What can we learn from sharing our stories in a brave and joyful space is something that we've also were exploring. Together, we engaged in powerful discussions around the universal emotion of vulnerability, imagined, discovered, and implemented strategies for wellness, and created poetry and first-person stories. We had a bigger group that was a part of the process of the storytelling class. Some are sharing with us today, and others are not. However, I wanted to acknowledge the whole collective and say how deeply proud I am and grateful to have experienced being in community with this class. Y'all have been my medicine, and I thank you for that. Tonight, you will experience the artistic work of 5 incredible storytellers, Snooki, Tiffany, Ty, Melissa, and Jessa. Y'all are in for a special treat. Cheers.
Hidden deep is a crack. Don't get me wrong, it's in plain sight. Do you see it? How did it begin? How did it begin? Your cause of this inception. On the surface, it's just a crooked line in your wall, barely noticeable at all. You walk past me all the time. I'm sure you see me when you look at that painting less than 10 inches away from me. Every time you lean against the wall, I feel the heat from your body. I separate just a little bit. Oh, you're such a hottie. Every time the door slams and heavy feet run up and down the stairs, I spread and the wall around me crumbles just a little bit. Even as dust and particles get in, I'm stretching, catching a breath from the wind. I was once just a crooked line in your wall. Over time, you nourished me with a touch or a bump, Now I'm climbing the wall. Can you see me now? My crack is streaming up the wall. Inside, I'm doing damage. Like a leak, making wall that contains me weak. Wall is crumbling around me. I see me reaching the ceiling by fall. That heat, the heat makes me swell and sweat and expand and then contract. I love it. It helps me grow to my potential, to be seen. Can you see me yet? I have a family of spiders moving in, spinning their web. I'm a crack that's now someone's home. And your eyes, they still haven't roamed to see me or notice how big I've grown. 10 inches away from that painting. I'm still waiting. Still growing on target to be to the ceiling by fall. But you don't notice me at all. Since my inception, since you put the nail in, I'm the crack in the wall you pay no attention to at all.
A little lower. All right. So, a few words about habichuela guisada con arepa. Habichuela guisada con arepa is what Puerto Ricans call comida pobre, meaning food for the poor. It costs literally a few bucks to make with all the ingredients, but you could feed the whole family, and it was super amazing. Back in the day, my dream was always to build a kiosco in a tropical area, and selling my abuelita's food straight from Puerto Rican, El Barrio, Puerto Rican food. My abuela made everything. I mean, everything from scratch. Her go-to was habichuela guisada con arepa. The days that my family was short on funds for food, she made these habichuela guisada. I tell you, she chopped up onions, ham, peppers, garlic, cilantro, olive, stuff with pimentón. She chopped up pumpkin, everything and anything that she could find from her pantry. El sofrito, you cannot forget that. And the sazon, forget it. That was what made everything come together. Anything that she could get her hands on. Then she started la masa para la arepa. Once she made the dough, she used her special rolling pin. And this wasn't just a regular rolling pin. It was a special rolling pin. It was heavy plastic with measurements on it. At the end of the pin, she had a screw off top and she filled it with hot water. Something about that hot water inside that pin made that dough really thin. I can just smell it like when I was a child. When I was a child growing up on Reeson, Indiana, across the street from Potter Thomas School, it brings me major memories. Another thing my grandmother had was she had this beautiful peach tree. She had it in the backyard. My uncles would climb the roof and get the ripe peaches, but little did they know that my grandmother already had all the peaches hidden in the middle of the oven just for me and her. For me and her, because it was only me and her. But it brings tears to my eyes because it's such great memories. She's been gone about 4 years now. She's an angel that watches over all of us. But anyway, my cousin inherited that rolling pin. My cousin, my best friend, she deserved it because She was the first grandchild after all. But anyway, back to reality. My dreams of the kiosco on the side of the road on the tropical island with the deep blue sea and the beautiful hot sun warming my back while I served ceviche, bacaleito tan salito, pichos con pionono, some arroz con gandules, but I think I will make them in kind of like fried little balls and serve them in a cone for the tourists because they love that shit, you know. Or these yummy jibarito sandwiches used instead of bread that we use tostones. Lord have mercy. I would have fresh fish or conch with jicama salad to die for. Bendito, I'd kill it. My abuela would be so proud of me. And don't forget the coffee. Abuelita will be proud that I will make that coffee. I mean, can you smell that coffee? No, really. Can you smell the aroma of Puerto Rican just made coffee? Oh my God, I could just wake up in my grandmother's kitchen when I was little. Fresh brewed coffee. And then I would also have some Bacardi rum because that would go with my mojitos, daiquiris, piña coladas, you name it. And I would serve all of it in a big coconut. My abuelita would be so proud.
As a seed, I could only feel the wind as it carried me through the, and as time passed on, it sometimes, gave me questions like, why are you here? And like, what are you? I couldn't really reply to those questions because I was a seed. And, seeds don't, I couldn't tell it what I was, nor why I was in its sky. So, couldn't do anything. As time went on, the wind kind of died down. Couldn't really hear it anymore. And then I fell out that sky because the wind didn't want me anymore, I guess. I fell on top of a turtle. Why I knew it was a turtle? Because it started cussing at me, saying, why are you on my shell? And get the fuck off. I couldn't reply because I was still, a seed. As time went on, it started to rain. I knew it was raining because I could fall off, from his shell and onto the ground. I felt free when I was on the ground. I was like, yes, finally. I got off that damn turtle. Because it started cussing at me. And I was like, oh man, this turtle. I can't say anything to you because if I did say something to you, I would be like, shut up, bro. I didn't want to be here to begin with. So I was like, yes, finally. Off your shell. I don't gotta worry about you no more. But then I felt something warm on me, which was so weird. I think, in my mind, I was like, oh man, I'm warm, but I'm also it's in water and stuff. So I don't know what was going on. But after some time, after the rain had fell, time passed a little bit. started to grow, or I should say, rooted myself into the ground. I could feel. It felt like I had feet. You know, when you don't feel like you had feet in a while, you feel like, oh, wow, I can move around. I was eating nutrients as my feet grew, you know. Yeah. I grew again, of course, because, you know, after some time has passed, you start growing again. This time I grew a little bit taller. I could feel, I could see, I can even taste. I tasted the rain for the first time when I became, you know, when I was that seed and I hit that ground. But I couldn't really taste it. At that time, I was like, oh man, I feel something all watery and slimy. But now I can really taste it sweet. I can feel the sun on my cheek and my bones and my branches. And I was like, oh man, this feels warm. The warm feeling that I was feeling at that time when I was a seed. It might have been. And I could see this time because I was a little bit taller. See the birds, I could see the wind. And I was like, oh man, maybe the wind will come back to me and I'll talk to it this time. I could move, guys. I could really move. I was in the wind, but I couldn't hear anything. But I was there. I could move around. Wow, my mic was muted all that time. So all you could see is my mouth moving. That is hilarious. I don't even know what part I was when I got muted. I'm gonna keep this rolling because this is hilarious. As you know, it was just a sec. You weren't muted. I just muted myself though. You know, that's kind of hilarious. I haven't seen that on live at all when someone mutes themselves on Facebook and be like, oh, wow. It's hilarious. Well, no, I'm going to keep it going because it's hilarious. I want people to laugh at that moment. That's a funny ass moment. All right, I'll start where I grew tall again. Yeah, I grew again, you know, real tall and whatnot. And then I could taste and feel the sunlight. I felt the sunlight on my trunk, and I could taste the water. It was real sweet. And I could move in the wind. I was having a blast, you know. But as time went on, you know, creatures, they started to visit me. I didn't know what they were, but they started crawling on me. I got a little bit scared. You see, I got scared because you don't know what that is crawling on you. So to me, I thought I was being attacked. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a tree that didn't know that I was a tree. So me being crawled on by creatures, I don't know. Would you feel like you being attacked if you was being crawled on by creatures when you're a tree? Look, I was though. But if it made me feel a little, even though it made me scared, it made me feel like I was wanted. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It made me feel like I was wanted by my surroundings. I was like, oh man, even though I'm scared, I feel wanted. I'm like, oh man, now I got a purpose. I got these people. They're hanging on me. I don't know what they are, but they're hanging on me. I feel like they'll make some good friends. Hopefully. I tried to talk to them, just like the wind and that damn turtle. I never want to see that goddamn turtle again. And when I think about it, I think that turtle took a shit on me. I really did. But let's not talk about it no more. Let's talk about these creatures. Because one of them went into my sight where I could see them. So I think it was a squirrel, but these humans keep saying, I don't know. Well, at least I don't think I know. But like I said, I tried talking to them, but they didn't hear me when I was saying. So I tried moving around. Maybe then they'll pay attention to what I'm saying to them. Nothing really happened. Time, passed on like it usually does. The creatures that had visited me went away, and I was left alone. I didn't really know what to do. Then I had birds. They visit me from time to time to make a nest in me, but they got sick of me, I guess, because they didn't like me. I don't know. But then they left, and trees die.
Stilted, a stutter. Life, a series of barefoot tightrope walks. Acceptance, validation, safety, only as strong and wide as those wires beneath my feet. Never on solid ground too long. My every facial tic, every nervous gesture, subject to scrutiny, correction, revision. I wonder if the walls looked beautiful when my father died, like some kind of Jackson Pollock painting. Speckles of ocean, lacerations of land, dried viscera. Am I there? Somewhere in those yellowed plots of earth covered in blood? My body, an abandoned landmass, am always reflected in gore in this topography, and yet I wander, poring over every chromatic shift from crimson to oxblood, looking for myself in the mess. Surveillance, red lights, and glossy black alien-eyed camera lenses invading my home, severing the veil between me and safety, eyes on every wall, the dried roses and soot-stained velas on the counter, a lurid show of sanctuary. My doors are locked, blackout curtains drawn, and yet there is an audience. My home, no longer the Faraday cage impervious to others. Scrutiny, correction, revision. How can I accept people seeing me when I have forgotten to see myself? I've always apologized for the intrusion of my existence, squishing my fat into fists and cauterizing wounds so people won't be disturbed by my hideous marks of trauma. But the more I curled myself into a ball and bruised myself by shoving bent and broken limbs into a box, the fiercer the spark of resistance within glowed. The ember lives hot and orange in my rib cage. Without this ember, I am hopeless. Anyway, I own a full-length mirror now, and my own gaze shocks me. Penetrating flesh, crags of fat and skin ridged with streaks of pink. I cannot stop staring at myself. There's a thrill in this little bit of exploration, different from the times I would pore over photos to zero in on every flaw, scrutiny, correction, revision. This makes sense to me. I was born and raised on a knife's edge, and that tightrope is sharp, cutting into my soles. Maybe I look for the flaws because I don't know any other way to live. It scares me to be caught in the act of joy, even more than error, because I'm so used to picking myself apart that maybe I'll ruin the joy. Or maybe the joy will be taken away from me, and all that will be left are hollow facsimiles. I used to document every good thing obsessively, to cling to it, because I have a deep, intimate knowledge of how ephemeral everything is. I needed evidence that it was there, that I existed in a place other than pain. But now I worry how people will receive the documentation of a person in this body living this life, how the joy will be twisted into obnoxiousness or aggression, my experiences only valid in relation to how others perceive them. Perceive me. Scrutiny, correction, revision. My perfection murders my spontaneity. Convex lenses capturing every odd movement, every bit of discomfort, every attempt I make to rip myself out of this skin and become a glorious, visceral form. There are so many times when I have felt powerless, when my soft body was bereft of muscle, of fight. In those moments, an inhalation is success. Every exhalation, a triumph. I'm heartened by the thought of finding power within myself to appreciate the softness of my body in feeling something, anything at all. These mercurial mood shifts are magical. I look at my reflection, murky and warped in the black mirror of the screen, in the startling clarity of the looking glass. And I realize I want to live as my body presents, big and wild and sprawling. I'm not writing my eulogy anymore. I'm living my greatest story.
I'm so glad you logged in, because if I keep this to myself for any longer, I think I'm gonna explode. Let me put this broom over here because I'm hitting myself. Okay, so I was unpacking the other day, right? When I came across this gem, my Puerto Rico cup. To anyone viewing, it may look like any old cup, a cute cup, but any old cup. The thing is, I've had this beauty since 2016 when I went to Puerto Rico after not being there since the second grade. A tragedy, I know. It was such a big deal because it was the first thing that I got from Puerto Rico, and it was on mine. Outside of that, I was born and raised in Philly, you know that. And you know how it is. I'd hear, oh, you're not a real Boricua because you weren't born on the island. Or everyone's favorite, ah, pues tú no hablas español, you're fake Puerto Rican. Am I Susie? Yeah, I know. And believe it or not, till this day, as an adult, I still hear things like that. Sometimes, not too much, but why at all? And while my Spanish is still not very good looking, you better believe I'll make it work. Okay. When I tell you, I legit drank from this cup for a month straight when I got back. Every time I drank from her, it felt like I was still sitting on Luquillo Beach with my toes in the sand, admiring the stillness of the water because there's like zero waves. If you know, you know. And I know this is going to sound weird. Don't judge me. But it's almost as if this cup is like magic or something. You know, like I could feel the warmth of the sun anytime I touch this cup. And the crazy thing is, this symbol right here, this is the Taino symbol for the sun. Weird, right? All right, never mind. Okay. Hear me out. Although it's just a cup, it represented something bigger for me. You know, just being back on the island, hearing the coquis, coqui, feeling proud, that island breeze as my hips sway to the music. To be honest, I'm not even sure if the music was actually playing or if it was just in my head, but the song was on a loop, and don't judge my singing, but it was like, es la isla del encanto y para mí no hay palabras para decirte la magia que sientes cuando estás aquí. I know you heard that song before. Don't front. Oh, okay. All right, well, never mind. I mean, I told you it was weird, but all right, but then don't judge me. I'm just gonna, she's the first thing I got that was mine from Puerto Rico, is all I'm trying to say, along with all of the memories I created while I was there. And it's finally a story that I can share. There's something comforting about the connection to the place my dad grew up, where my grandparents were born, the stories my abuela would share with us when we were growing up. You remember the one about when my dad and his siblings were kids and my uncle fell into the water. They thought he was going to drown, so everybody was panicking trying to get him out because they didn't want him to drown and they didn't want to get in trouble when they got home. There's just like endless stories, and I'm happy that now I can finally like be a part of that in a way. It's just, this cup represents culture, language, beauty. Like, it was handmade. And sometimes I find myself wondering what the creator was thinking as they went along. You know, like just looking at these symbols. Imagine if the Tainos like text back in the day, you know, if they did, what would that look like? I envision something like stick figure. Oh, hey girl, It's so sun symbol out here, right? I know you picture it too. Don't play. Anyways, with all the chaos in this world around us, it was just nice to be reminded of a world that lives within us. The connection to comfort zones and sand in between my toes. And I'm telling you, this cup has powers. Okay, my Spanish, when I'm drinking un cafecito con un chililín de leche con azúcar, out of this thing, you think I was right next to my abuela when she was over there doing that laundry, listening to that salsa music. You know what I mean? Do, 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 do. Here's that song again. Es la isla del encanto y para mí no hay palabras para decirte la magia que sientes cuando estás aquí. I know y'all heard that. Finally, watch, just watch. Es la isla del encanto y para mí no hay palabras para decirte la magia que sientes cuando estás aquí. Es la isla del encanto y para mí no hay palabras para decirte la magia que sientes cuando estás aquí. Now it's gonna be stuck in your head, I know. That's fine. Connection and belonging is culture. Connection and belonging is music. Connection and belonging is comfort zones and rice and beans and sand in between my toes. Es la isla del encanto y para mí no hay palabras para decirte la magia que sientes cuando estás aquí. Oh, I think my connection is bad. You.
Woo! Yes, everyone can turn their cameras on. Whoever wants to be a part of the Q&A, let's send some energy. Let's make some noise.
Great job.
Woo!
Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah,
You guys
I'm so happy to be part of this group.
Oh my
Guys.
goodness. You all should be
Everybody
so proud
did
of
great. I'm
yourselves.
so happy.
Yes.
Y'all did
Amazing. I'm so proud.
Guys.
You
Guys,
did it.
for me, you made a great ending, Tiff. That was awesome.
Not even 2 months. Not even 2 months. that we've been
Congratulations
together.
all. You are
Yes.
awesome.
All right, so if folks want to stick around for a couple of minutes and we'll have a little Q&A for a couple of minutes and just, reflect a little bit on these last couple of weeks together. Before our folks who have been following on Facebook, you've been getting a lot of love on the Facebook chat, like throughout the night, just so you know. And for folks on the Facebook, just, follow us on our other media, Instagram, Twitter, PowerStreetTheater.com. We have another class coming up in the summer, and it's the first time that it's not going to be taught by me or Gabby. So it's going to be Devising Community Through Memory, taught by Sabria Shipley, she, they. Devising monologue series accounting the multiple voices of community. Students will be led through various storytelling prompts centered around themselves and the communities they come from. Students will explore various tools of the personal monologue and digital storytelling, from poetry as performance, community ethnography, personal archiving, and dramaturgy. So that's our summer class that's coming up. We've worked with Sabria with our children's show. We're like, oh, we really love Sabria. We got to get Sabria to keep doing stuff with Power Street. So we're like, do you want to teach a class? And this was the class that Sabria wanted to teach. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like. I might end up joining that class. So if you're interested in that class or in any of the future classes that Power Street, this is going to be an ongoing program. We're always going to be having classes, or at least a class every fall or winter or spring or summer. So go to Power Street's website, go to all the different places that you can follow us so that you can stay up to date on everything that we have going on, all right? And yeah, so the first question that I have is for the storytellers, and anyone who wants to jump in and add their thought. And the question was, what was most challenging or satisfying about finding your story? And you know what, maybe I'll just open it up to the whole group in general and just make it for monologuers, playwrights as well. What was most challenging or satisfying about finding your story or finding your monologue or your character? Julia?
Yeah, well, one thing I just want to say is that, I've been out of the loop in terms of my theater life, you know what I mean? And, just because life and then pandemic, and it's just been really, I was nervous, because I feel like, when you don't ride a bicycle for a long time, that maybe you like wobble or you fall down. So I was really worried and nervous. And for me, when I got paired with Jessa and we had that connection with the story connection, it was like, oh, okay, wow, and so that really sort of like just gave me a little bit more confidence to come back, get back into it and start writing more. So I've been writing more now, and I have had all these projects I didn't start and these ideas because I was, not really feeling so confident. But I just want to thank everybody because just working with Jessa and having that connection, so it was just crazy. But really, so now I'm writing more and I'm really definitely getting it together. And so I really thank everybody for all of the work that you've done because it's been inspiring to me, the just seeing all these incredible stories and the actors did such a great job also. So thank you so much.
I think for me, I was in both classes, and I think the challenge and the most satisfying thing are exactly the same, which was that my challenge was getting out of my own way, and the most satisfying thing was when I got out of my own way and I just allowed the stories that I needed to tell to be told. And it's all because of everybody in both classes being so amazingly supportive and open and generous, and connecting with people was really beautiful, and that really helped. And I think everybody supported each other so wonderfully. Yeah, I'm really grateful for y'all.
We got a comment in the chat that says Jessa should be an actress, so do with that as you will.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to share what was most challenging or satisfying about their process of finding their story or monologue?
I think the funny moments. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to say the funny moments was most exciting for me. Me sitting in a classroom with women was kind of hilarious. I thought it was gonna be at least one more dude. But then, in one of the classes that Gabby had taught, they was talking about their breasts, the breast size, and how she had to, not wear what's those things, a bra, for one of the plays that she was in. I think that was hilarious because everyone was chiming in. I was the only guy that was there listening to them talk about their bra sizes. So I think that was the most funniest thing in the world. Yeah.
Oh, Ty. I would say
Hard for life.
It's all love. I would say for me it was I appreciated the discovery moments. I feel like I haven't been in this type of creative space in a while. So to be able to be in that space and kind of just be surprised with the creativity that ends up coming out from it was pretty cool. I'm totally like true story being, told I wasn't a real Puerto Rican because I wasn't like fluent in Spanish. And like, I've gotten so much better. This process, like, I just shocked myself because the Spanish song that I was singing, I wrote that. And I had Google Translate up just in case, but I never had to use it. So, Mommy, Papi, I know you'll be proud. But I would say that was one of the, I hope I answered the question.
Anyone else have a thought on that? If not, I have a question that I've kind of been curious about that I haven't had the time to ask in my classes about what was it like collaborating with your team member? What was it like creating your monologues in a partnership and not having full freedom to just write whatever you wanted and having to make compromises with somebody else on your story?
I'll start, I guess. It was, I giggled because like, in a way that was the challenging part in the beginning. Like, I think that myself and Eliana were both like super gentle and like kind to each other, right? But like that also just turned into us being like, well, we can do whatever you want to do, or like, oh, that thing, like, sure, let's do that because you like that, which was great for us building community, I guess, but not so helpful as like far as deciding. But once we did finally decide, that was really great. Yeah, but it was really helpful to have someone to like bounce ideas off of, and it was really fun like getting to the point where there was something actually created, but we did struggle in that beginning portion.
Anyone else have a thought on what it was like working in their pairs? Julia, you want to throw it?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because when we first started working together, we immediately realized we had a connection because we both had, it was very true. It was the Jehovah's Witness experience. And so it was just like, oh my God, I didn't know that. This is the first time I met Jessa. So it really was that first conversation, we just shared our stories, and our experiences and just like, and it's interesting because, it's also trying to like manage my emotions around it. You know what I mean? Because right before we started the performance tonight, I got really misty because I was thinking, I was reading it and I made teeny little tweaks. I don't know if you noticed that. I changed some things because I realized, I felt sad and I was like, wow, but at least but now I was able to, with this process, just process all of that and just feel, confident in, my own experience and that this was just almost like the period at the end of the emotional sentence. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and just to jump on that real quick, I think, have to give Erlina a lot of credit because she's the one that paired us all together, and her powers of observation and really figuring out who would work best with who. Like, I don't know what magic she has, but she's magical because she paired us all together and everybody's teams were just so wonderful. And it really is a credit to you, Erlina. So, you really figured us out. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun being like, like moving people around and like thinking about like the dynamics of energy and being like, how will those energies meld together? But that was also halfway through. Y'all didn't get into your pairs until I think it was class number 3 or something like that, or 4. So really the monologues that you created weren't really created until the last couple of classes. The first couple of classes were just like prompts and playing and writing different things together and like getting to know each other. So that's why by the time I made your pairs, I was like, all right, these people I think will go good together. So yeah, I was pretty proud of myself with that. Okay, so last question. Oh, we have a question from the audience. When did you all know your pieces were done? Oh, what's the definition of done?
I think I just said it. I changed a few things today, right before the performance.
I would agree. I knew mine was finished yesterday, and right before we had like our rehearsal, I I added a couple things, and it was fun. So I was like, you know what? It's good energy. Let's go with it.
I second that. I think you're done when you have to turn it in, because even to the last bit, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I was supposed to add that. Oh, wait a minute, I wanted to change that. And so it's turned in, and so it's nothing you can do about it. So at that point, that's when it's done, because you'll be critiquing it until kingdom come. You'll just keep adding and subtracting. So the point that it's turned in and you know the other person recited it and you heard heard them say it for the first time, you're like, oh yeah, it's done. That's it. That's it.
If that isn't the truest statement.
I was gonna say, is it ever really done? Like, I don't feel like they're ever really done. But same, I tweaked things, a word here, a word there, like today. So I don't think they're ever truly done, but as done as they're gonna be today.
Yeah, and it also, as far as partner work, like it helped to, like, I think that eventually we got to a point where like the story we told together felt nice or like good enough to present to people, but it really doesn't feel done. Like I really like Stella and Dorothy. I think I might write some more of them, maybe. I don't know. If Eliana's okay with it.
I know I wouldn't like the full play for all these characters. All right, y'all, that's it. That's our time. Thank you so much for your beautiful work. Thank you everyone who joined us tonight. Let's just send some energy. Woo! However you want to send that energy out to y'all.
Super thank you to Erlina and Gabriela.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Bye, Jessa.